Hello, my chicklets. Thank you all for stopping by. Once again, today I have a story for you by Lost in Scribbles. I appreciate them letting me do their stories so much. I have found so many good stories, and I really do believe y'all should check out everything they've written, because that's what I did for the most part when preparing for this month. I went through and read as much as I possibly could. Make sure to show them some love. For now, let me read to you Let's Call a Truce, Just This Onesie. It was a chilly day. Not that Janus was often feeling particularly warm, being half cold-blooded reptilian and all, and his bodily temperature was mostly dependent on Thomas's at the time anyway. Still, the occasional shivers and uncontrollable trembling of his hands totally didn't start to annoy him. He would go to the kitchen to pour himself a cup of tea. If it weren't for the others occupying the living room for their childishly pathetic weekly movie night, it wasn't an event Janus felt compelled to join, given at least half, likely even 3/4 of the people there, hated his guts, and if he wanted to be met with scorn, he'd much rather pick a day where he'd actually be able to snap back. Because the cold had made him feel quite exhausted, perhaps he could persuade Thomas to tuck in early, for the sake of self-care, of course. He would just have to wrap himself in some extra blankets till then. Closing his copy of Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment, Janus got up from the couch and stretched his back for a bit. Not sure how long he'd been sitting there. The ruckus and commentary from the moviegoers seemed to have quieted down, but Janus didn't feel like taking chances right now. It appeared he stood up too quickly, a wave of lightheadedness and nausea overwhelming him, making his vision go blurry. Keeping himself steady and taking a breather, he carefully ventured to his bed with his book in hand. Taking off his shoes as he reached the bedside, he climbed on top of it to lean himself against the king-sized bed's headrest. It was just large enough to cover his back. Right, extra blankets. Please let them be somewhere on the bed. As Janus glanced around, growing frustration since he realized there were no extra blankets, he groaned loudly and reached over the edge of the bed. Lying stomach down on the mattress, he reached his hand underneath his bed. He surely stuffed away some of them under there. Ow, fuck! A row of tiny sharp teeth had dug into his middle finger. Pulling his hand out from under the bed, he raised his hand from behind the mattress to reveal a scruffy, brown-grayish rat hanging from his finger. Don't you have your owner to go and bite? Janus snarled at the animal, giving it an intimidating stare. The rat eventually let go from hanging for a few seconds, plopping down on the bed and just sitting there, as if he was bored, before sprinting off toward the door. Oh wait, it wasn't bored. Janus had wished he could seal his own lips, preventing him from screaming in rage as he saw tiny rat dung on his sheets. Resisting the urge by snapping his fingers forcefully to unlock the door, Janus begrudgingly watched as the rat ran out of his room. Wincing, he brushed the rat's lovely little presence off his bed and scooched a decent couple of inches to the other side of the bed, once again reaching under the edge of his bed on the other side this time, finally an extra cloth of soft blankets. Wrapping the set of 2 blankets, one knitted and one fleece, over his shoulders, Janus leaned back against the bed's headrest. He draped the blankets over his crossed legs slightly, picking up his book, which he'd left on the foot ends. Now he was finally able to read. Hey, Janus? For the love of... what now? Sighing once more, Janus peered over the page of his book when he saw Patton enter his room. Wait, how did he... oh, the rat. Left the door open. Right. Fantastic. Oh, just wanted to let you know that the movie's finished. We're all gonna head to bed, Patton said carefully, holding his hands behind his back as he tiptoed further and further into Janus's room. But also... Great. Janus forced a sneaky smile. Thank you kindly for disturbing my last remaining peace and quiet for today, then. Now if you would please retreat to your... Just one more thing? Patton grinned awkwardly. He was shifting his weight from one foot to another nervously, blushing just a little, only to make the situation more awkward and drag out longer. I got you something? Janus hardly found himself speechless, though As Patton revealed what was behind his back, he truly couldn't find the proper words to give him a reaction. Any kind of reaction. He wasn't used to receiving anything in the first place. Aside from the occasional experimental dinner or dead bugs from Remus, least of all, "A onesie!" Patton exclaimed excitedly, holding up the onesie in front of him as he peered from behind one of the sleeves. It had the model of a snake, golden yellow with some green streaks, and a hood that was modeled after a snake's head, with a split tongue plastered on it. Additionally, a small bowler hat seemed to be clumsily glued on top. "I thought I may or may not use this as a little extra persuasion to join movie night sometime," Patton continued, lowering the onesie to fold it and drape it over his forearms. "But, no pressure. Otherwise, you can consider this a peace offering for tonight and the movie nights to follow." Janus took a big gulp, trying to figure out his phrasing in his head, which he normally never had to do. He could speak his mind eloquently any time, so why did this catch him so off guard? As to not stumble over his words, he took a deep breath. "I actually loathe onesies. Of any kind, but..." Janus spoke slowly, taking pauses in between. Patton moved closer to his bedside, and as their distance closed, he shivered again. Patton had such a concerned look in his eyes that it made Janus even more jittery. "I suppose I could be so kind as to take it off your hands?" Patton beamed, practically pushing the onesie in his arms. Janus dropped the book he was holding, instinctively clutching the fluffy fabric of the attire. "I'm happy you like it." He smiled widely, tilting his head. "Hopefully it'll warm you up a bit. Well, sleep tight, kiddo. Sweet dreams." And with that, not erasing the smile from his face, Patton hopped back out the door and closed it behind him. Janus just stared down at his newly received gift for a second, catching a glimpse of his glove torn at the middle finger. Now that he was stuck with this anyway, might as well try it. Snapping his fingers, he felt the fabric of the onesie envelop him completely. He let the extra blankets fall off his shoulders. Just the faintest hint of a smile appeared on Janus's face as he picked up his book again. He was finally getting warmer. Thank you everyone for listening. This is once again called Let's Call a Truce. Just this onesie. I do hope y'all enjoyed it, and I hope you have a wonderful day.